Hey guys, welcome back to the Maliyah Kimble Show. I'm your host, Maliyah Kimble, and for my first guest today, I'm going to be interviewing Nicole Leatherwood.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm
Thank you.
excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. So, for my viewers and my audience at home, can you please tell them a little bit about yourself?
My name is Nicole Leatherwood, and I am a mom of four. I have two older children and two younger children, and we are a homeschool family.
Okay, and as a homeschool parent, is it hard dealing with them every day?
Yes and no. Some days are better than others. I mean, I would say, just as any mom who's a stay at home mom, you have your good days, you have your trying days because you are with children all day, 7 days a week. So, but I would say that for the most part, they work my nerves some days and other days is okay. But the benefits of us spending this time together, because my oldest son is 17. I didn't get to do that with him. I worked. He went to traditional school, and I worked the whole time he was growing up. And so now with my two younger ones, to have this time and to be home with them like that, I could just tell there's a difference. There's a difference in my mothering. It's a difference in my patience. It's a difference in my discernment when it comes to my kids, because I'm with them more. Where with my oldest one, I think I was home with him for maybe about a year, but then he went to traditional school.
Okay, and what's the difference between traditional school and homeschooling?
So that's a good question. I think a lot of people assume that homeschooling is school at home, where traditionally you have a set time from you start school at this time, you end at this time, and then you have to meet all these subjects in between, and you're basically on someone else's schedule. In a homeschool setting, you make your own setting. So it's up to the family what works for you. There are some families who start earlier in the morning, some may not start to the late afternoon, or even in the evening if they are working parents. So the schedule is kind of based on what works for your household, as well as what you do. Michigan is a great state in the sense that there are no real restrictions when it comes to homeschooling. It's just that you need to make sure you're at least meeting state standards with your, state guidelines when it comes to what subjects you're teaching and what things you're teaching. But other than that, you can make your own thing, what works for you. And for instance, my family, we kind of break it up. We break up our day. We may do some stuff in the morning, and then we take a nice little gap, and then we'll do some more stuff in the evening. And we don't do the same thing every day. So just kind of keep them engaged.
Okay. Why did you initially start homeschooling your kids?
So initially, my youngest son, who is 7, he's never been to school. My 9-year-old, my daughter, she was in kindergarten when the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit and everyone came home and we were doing school at home, my eyes were open to a lot of things. I think I started to see some things prior to the pandemic, but I kind of brushed them off. And then during the pandemic, I started to see a lot more. Like I seen where there were gaps in her education, but the class and the teacher was still just moving forward. It wasn't like, hey, we need to stop here because this student needs to play catch up and we need to work with this. It wasn't like that. It was just like, we're going to move forward. And then the biggest thing was in kindergarten, they were required to take first grade. So she was in kindergarten. We started back up in the fall. She was in first grade. They were required to take a standardized test, a state test. And they kept saying, we know they're not going to pass this test. We know that they don't know the information that's on this test, but they're required to take the test. And I kept thinking, well, why are we setting our kids up for failure if you're saying that you know they're not going to know what's on the test, but we're testing them on stuff that we know they don't know? And then my daughter was taking a test because we were still at home and doing virtual schooling, and she was literally in tears because she didn't understand the stuff. And she's like, Mommy, I don't know. I don't understand this. I don't know what they're asking me. And so when I would try to like rephrase the question so she could kind of have a better understanding, mind you, she missed half of kindergarten because of the pandemic. Now we're in first grade. She's still learning to read, her letters, all that stuff. And so the teacher's like, well, you can't help. And I'm like, I'm not helping. I'm just rewording the question so that she understands. And it's like, well, no, that's considered cheating. You can't help. You can't say anything. And so I watched my 5-year-old daughter get so overwhelmed and so defeated that I was like, this isn't going to work. Because if she gets to the point where she feels defeated at 5, she has a long way to go in her learning process. I don't want her to feel like she can't do it. And so that was like the last straw for me. I told my husband, I was like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We need to pull her out, and we can homeschool at home, and we can sit down and go through the things and go through where she's at and build her up, so that she doesn't feel like, okay, well, I'll never get it. I don't understand this. And I felt like that's where that was heading.
Okay. And as a parent who homeschools their children, what do you think is the difficult parts about homeschooling your kids?
I think the difficult part about homeschooling your children is believing that you can do it. A lot of people, there's a lot of naysayers, and I think that the voice in your head sometimes is bigger than the love in your heart. And the love says, I can do this. I know what's best for my children. But the voice in your head is saying, you're not a teacher. How are you going to teach them this? How are you going to prepare them for college? But you have to understand that no one will love your child more than you love them. And therefore, no one will be able to sit down and really take the time to teach them what they need to know. And with that, I say homeschooling is a calling. I did not necessarily choose this life. God chose it for me. He started to open my eyes to a lot of things in terms of, like I told you about the testing, but also in terms of what my children weren't getting in school. They were not getting any type of discipleship as far as God. They're not talking about God. They're not being taught about God. And in Deuteronomy, he says, teach your children day and night. And so I say that the biggest thing is to believe you can and to trust God. If on my hardest days, I trust God. I said, God, this is what you called me to do. I'm not equipped, but you're equipped. So therefore, I have to trust him to know that everything that I'm doing is going to be okay. My kids are going to be fine, because at the end of the day, these are his children too. He blessed me with them, so he knows what they need before I could ever think of what they need.
Okay. And before you started homeschooling your kids, did you have any backgrounds with teaching or teaching other kids?
Funny thing. So I don't have a full background with teaching, but I went to school and got a bachelor's degree in business. When my oldest son was toddler age, I went back to school to get a teaching degree. So I've taken some educational classes. I didn't finish the teaching degree. As I was going through it, I realized that I like my kids, not everybody's kids. So with that, I didn't finish the teaching degree, but I think that it gave me a little bit of an understanding of certain things. But I would say, even with that, the majority of the things have come where it's really been through prayer. It's really been where God has shown me that, hey, because when I first put them home, I tried to do like everybody else do. I tried to mimic school at home, and I had to realize, God had to show me that's not going to work. That's not, if that's the case, you can just put them in school. That's not going to work. You have to tailor the education for them. And so it really has been me leaning on God and trusting him in trial and error.
So when you homeschool your kids, how do you incorporate God and like the school work together?
So first off, our day starts with devotional and reading the Bible. My children read from the Bible. So they have their own children's Bible, and so sometimes I just open up and decide where I'm gonna go. Sometimes, I'm like, Lord, what should I talk to them about? Or depending on what I see, what they may be having issues in. Like if I see there's a lot of selfishness, I see there's a lot of bickering between them, then okay, we're gonna talk about love. We're gonna talk about what did God say love is and how you should love one another. So those are things that I use, and so we start with our Bible study and our devotional time and reading the Bible. We start with that, and then in our other subjects, far as if it's history, we talk about biblical history, we talk about history, American history and everything. And I always tie God into it. When we talk about science, I always tie God into it to remind them, yeah, there's a lot like right now we're learning Black history because it's Black History Month. And so I'm always explaining to them, hey, yes, these are things that happen, but you have to understand that not all people are bad. Not all people are this way. It's the sin that makes people do certain things. It's not the person themselves. It's the sin. So I tie it in that way so that they understand the biblical part and the godly part along with the natural stuff. So, but that only came from a lot of prayer.
And for parents who may want to get into homeschooling their kids, what are a couple tips that you have for them?
My first tip would say be prayerful and ask God how you should go about it. The second thing I would say is find you a community. You need to find other people who are working this journey with you. That was something that I didn't have in the beginning, but now I do have. So find a community, whether it's online or whether you find somewhere physically to go. But you need other people who is walking the same journey as you. So that way, on your days that you feel discouraged, they can say, "Hey, you pick it up. You can do this. I've been there," or what have you. Also, that helps you get like best practices for people who've maybe been where you are, or just bouncing things off each other. The third thing I would say is don't don't look at what your children are doing and compare them to what other children are doing. I think that's pivotal. That's like super important, because a lot of times you look at what your children doing and you like monitoring how other kids are doing stuff, and you're like, okay, well, my kids up to party. Everybody's got their own walk. Everybody's got their own journey. So, be confident enough to know that wherever your children are, they'll get where they need to be in the time that they need to be there, because we don't have any control over what happens. This is all divine order. So just do what you're supposed to do and know that they're going to get where they need to be when they're at that time that they need to be there.
Okay, and do you plan to homeschool your kids throughout like their whole education, like throughout high school and stuff?
I take it year by year. I always pray and say, Lord, are we going back? Are they going back to school, or where do you want me to continue this road? I would say I don't see them going back to school under the so many things that are going on in the school systems, and so many things that concern me about what they're exposed to and how things are going in school. So I don't see them going back, but I'll never say never, because one year the Lord may tell me this is the year they go back. So I go year by year.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I really enjoyed the information that you shared.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to be going back to break, and next I'm going to be interviewing a nail tech, so stay tuned. All right, welcome back, guys. So next I'm going to be interviewing the best nail tech in Detroit, Deja.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, so for the audience and the viewers, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
I'm a nail tech based in Southfield, Michigan. I'm 25. I've been licensed since 2020, but I've been doing nails since I was like 12.
Okay, and how did you first start knowing that you wanted to do nails?
So I got my nails done for the first time when I was 12, turning 13, and literally the next day, I bit all my nails off. And my mom told me, like, I'm never taking you to get your nails done again. And I really liked having my nails done. I don't know. It was kind of like, it was like a thing where I wasn't used to it, but I know, like, I was interested in it. So I went to the beauty supply store. I think it was CVS, actually, because they had those kiss kits. And I literally put those nails right back on. Carpet, living room floor, linen my nails and everything. Fresh, full set.
Okay, and when did you start doing other people's nails?
So I started, I really want to say, like, my freshman year of high school. I was more confident because I was on a cheer team and I had cheer sisters, and they were like, you doing nails? Like, baby girl, we in ninth grade. I want my nails done. So I was doing their nails, but before then, I was doing like my cousin's nails. Of course, I was practicing on myself, but I would say like high school, I started on other people. Yeah.
And if anyone wants to come to you or find you, how can they find you?
I'm on Instagram the most at Nailed by Dej. You can follow me there. And I have a TikTok. Don't really post too much, but if y'all have TikTok, y'all can follow me there as well. And that's about it.
Okay, and what is some of the styles that you do as a nail tech?
I love getting taken out of my comfort zone. So I'm really open to trying anything. My favorite is square. I love a good taper square. Short or long. My long girlies don't really be, I don't really got too many of those. But my short girlies be coming through.
Okay, and what are some of the designs that you do?
My favorite, I would say, is a marble. I love a good marble nail. French, classy French tips. Y'all know the girls love the classy Frenchies. And really just anything, but those are my top two, I would say.
And where do you do nails at?
I have a suite. If y'all are familiar with the Southfield area, like 9 Mile and Greenfield, across the street from the Providence Hospital, I'm in that building.
Okay, and when did you start doing nails professionally?
So I did a little bit of college in Bowling Green, but I kind of figured that college wasn't for me. And once I came home, like, I was staying with my friends, and they were like, you should get into nails. Like, I feel like you would really, flourish. And she brought me my first nail light. My mom brought me my table, and that was 2018. And then once I went to school in 2020, that's when I started, like, becoming more serious, like, professional. Like, I got to get up on my business, like.
And how did you become a licensed nail tech?
Oh, girl, that was the struggle. But I started at Dorsey, and this is a disclaimer because this was just for me. But Dorsey was not for me. Then I tapped into a local nail school called Unlimited Beauty Institute, and it was really God, because once I left Dorsey, I was so confused. I was so, like, discouraged. Like, I'm like, is this what I'm really supposed to be doing? Like, I didn't came home from school, like, So he pointed me into the direction of Unlimited Beauty, because I was doing certifications online, during the pandemic, because this was the time where the world was shut down. I was working from home, got furloughed. So I'm like, okay, I need to really do something. So I went back to school. It was online at first. And then we started going into classes, and I'm like, okay, I was getting a hang of it. I'm more hands-on. Like, that's how I learn. So I graduated in 2020, and then I took my class. I took my my state board. I was so nervous because, when you think you know something, but when you get in that classroom, it's just something about the classroom that just kind of took me off. But I'm like, I went in there with confidence. I prayed about it. I took this little 2-hour road trip. Like, I'm about to ace this. So I went in, and then they told me literally that same day, like, I passed. So got my license.
And what are some of the services that you offer with your nail business?
So I'm a full service nail tech. I offer pedicures, manicures, soak manicures, and dry. Well, with the acrylic service, a dry manicure comes automatically with it. And then, of course, I offer acrylic services. I don't offer dip or gel X just yet, but I'm kind of tapping into that a little bit.
Okay, and what are some of like your price ranges on some of your services?
Um, so basic manicure, I would say starts at 35. And then it could just really go up from there because acrylics short set starts at like 60, but that's with like no designs or anything. And then my pedicure start at 50.
Okay, and with your business, where do you want to be in like the next 5 years? Like, do you want to have your own shop?
That's a great question. Yes, I definitely want to have my own shop. I wasn't really going to, I was thinking about if I was going to speak on this, but I'm going to just go ahead and just speak it into the world, speak it into existence. I want to open up a school. I have a niece that's turning 10 on Monday, and she's like, I have a nail tech as an auntie. Like, of course I'm going to have my nails done 24/7. So it's like, we're going to open the school up for the little girls that don't really, have the mentoring that they want, because of course the schools are for 18 and up or 17. You got to be high school or whatever, but it's little girls that actually know what they want or kind of know what they want to do, and just give them something to do when there's nothing to do.
Okay, and as far as being a nail tech, what are some of like the things, like what is something that's very difficult for you as a nail tech?
um I kind of try to make the best out of every situation. So I don't really think about the difficulties, but I'm going to say my back problems. But I feel like that just comes with anything. But I don't know.
Okay, and for any upcoming nail techs, what are some tips that you have for them?
If you're a beginner, I would say just stay confident, like stay in your bag, like definitely do your research on the products that you're using, because you don't want to use illegal products. Like, that's a big thing. Um, they're not too big on having your license with doing nails, but you definitely want to have some type of insurance behind your name.
Okay, and are there any other talents that you may have?
Uh, I feel like I don't want to say I know how to draw because I don't, but I like to paint. Like, I don't know.
Okay, and before you knew that you wanted to be a nail tech, did you have like any other dreams that you wanted to accomplish?
Girl, I wanted to be Debbie Allen. I used to dance, and I just knew I was just going to be dancing. I was going to be on Broadway. Like, I just knew I was just going to be dancing for the rest of my life. But God had other plans.
Okay, and are you a Christian?
Yes.
Okay, so as a Christian, what is some of the things that you do to build or not build, but keep your relationship with God stronger?
I just read the word. I read the word daily. I try to just pray over everything that I do, like everything from my business to my eating to my outings, my relationships, my relationship with my clients, like, because all money is not good money. So it's just like, I definitely like pray over like the ones that should not be in my chair. Please don't come sit in my chair. You know what I'm saying? So that's majority it. Just keep prayers.
Okay, and with your clients, how does your relationship go with your clients?
I love them. I love them. Like, they're so dear to my heart. Like, and it's not even just the ones that come to me like every month, because I don't see my clients every 2 weeks. Like, if you go to the nail shop, you're going every 2 weeks because the nail pop off or your polish chipping, or you know what I'm saying. But I literally don't see my clients as often. So when I see them, we catching up, we in there chilling. My nail appointments be going over like 2 hours because we just in there like having a good time. So it's just like, they are really why I continue to do what I do.
Okay, and what are your hours?
So now that I'm not working at my day job, I'm off from Beyond. I work at Beyond Juice. I'm a barista. I'm off there Monday and Tuesday, so those are my full days, 8 to 8. But Wednesday through Friday, I'm working from 1 to 8. And during those hours, I try to kind of fit my, like, gym life in, too, because I, got to stay in the gym. Hubby won't allow it if I didn't.
And are you open to new clients?
Oh, yes, always. Like I said, I don't see my regulars like once a month, so that just gives me time to build, those new clienteles.
And when you first started doing nails, what was it that motivated you to keep going?
Um, just the fact that it's therapeutic to me. Like when I go to my suite, when I can close my door, even though I have suite mates, like that's another sanctuary for me. Like I just go and decompress from my day. Like even if I'm not doing nails, like I'll just go to my suite and organize something or just look at everything I got. Like dang, like I really invested into myself. Like I did this, you know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing for me. It helps me a lot.
Okay, and what's the process when you buy your supplies for your nails?
Um, I don't really think of a process. I just go and get stuff. Like I will just be looking, and it's funny because I follow all of these nail pages on Instagram, so I'll just be scrolling like, that looks interesting. And it's a nail supply store that they just opened up that you don't have to be licensed to get like products. And girl, I be there like every week. Like I just be there just looking at stuff like, I could use this for this. Girl, I got Valentine's stones that nobody even used yet, and it's just sitting there, and it's probably going to sit there for another year or so, but it's just to look at, to be like, dang, like this is what I'm doing.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for
enjoyed
having
y'all.
me.
Make sure y'all book with her.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next episode.